mean, that really happens, though. I watch a ton of true crime stuff all the time.
I guess.
I just want to say, like, this was going to be my part. Like, as a guy that is divorced and would go through that ride all the time, I would be terrified. Like, that would have so much trauma for me. But it should. It's horror. I shouldn't be looking at that and being like, yeah, you got me again. Like,
You're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast with Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Rachel. Oh, I love the way their foul little minds work. Yeah.
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way podcast.
They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante Sana, everyone. You're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana. And on this show, I invite you to feel the libations.
Feel it, feel it.
We are artistic buffs and not artistic cream puffs. This is a show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find us. For this episode, we talk about all the new things coming to the Disneyland Resort Haunted Mansion over there in New Orleans Square. Especially the bride.
Yeah.
And look, this isn't your typical polish, practice, pixie dust, and Disney podcast. No way. We are not in Disney Springs every day, letting you know that the new shaded outdoor seating area for Chicken Guy is complete.
Ooh.
That's like much needed, though. I'm glad they did that.
Really?
Yeah, we ate there a couple of years ago and sat outside, and it was
Brutal?
yes, brutal and windy and awful. Anyway, so I'm glad they have a shaded space now.
Well, it's open, so you're going to have to let us know how it is next time you go visit it.
I will. Well, to be honest, I'm not a huge Chicken Guy fan. It was the one and only time we went.
All right,
So this isn't all that needed. Just for
Well,
the chicken
there are a lot
guys
of
and
people that
gals.
like it.
That's why we're not here to
it.
talk about Chicken Guy.
That's right, Eli. We're not here to talk about chicken guys.
Chicks and guys.
Yes. We're just here to drink, talk some Disney, and celebrate hatchet-wielding axe murderers.
And that's right. You listeners have the easy part. All you guys have to do is to listen up to what we think up while we drink up.
My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
I'm Eli.
And I'm Rachel.
And look, the easiest way to support us is to book a vacation with Rachel, and a little piece comes back to support us. Also, please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and or wherever you access our show. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode of the Magic Our Way podcast. Also, we want to thank our Patreon supporters for all that they do for us. Before we get into it, apparently we're recording this on Sunday the 19th, and the whole South Louisiana area is supposed to get snow, Rachel. I don't know if you heard this news. Yeah. Some kind of wintry whatever.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, same here. I'm curious to know. But in the event that it happens, you have any good tips for us at being a person that lives in this stuff?
Do you guys have garages?
Some people do.
Where do you think we're recording
Well, you're
this?
in one right
we're
now.
in one right
He
now.
has
Well-
one. I don't.
Yeah.
The best thing is to put your car in the garage so you don't have to clear it off in the morning. But
Ah.
Oh.
sounds like that might not be an option.
Oh, I'm
Well,
screwed.
here in Louisiana, if it snows, it happens once every, 15 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they shut down everything.
Which is
So-
smart.
Yeah.
We don't have to drive anywhere if
Yeah.
it snows.
Yeah.
We don't
Okay.
get feet of snow. We get like inches
Yes.
of snow.
Look, people around
Guys-
here can't drive in rain, let alone
We're
snow.
supposed to get 6 to 8 inches tonight, and we have every intention of just having a very normal day tomorrow and going out in the morning because that is the expectation here. Like if you get 6 to 8 inches, that is nothing. That is Monday morning.
No, the
Moving
city
on.
shut down here. I
Yeah.
think I'm working remotely for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, my side of
Yeah.
the lake's supposed to be like 3 to 4 inches or whatever. I mean, I don't foresee it staying around for long.
No.
But
Yeah.
I'm not driving around with those
I'm
drivers.
trying to think of like other tips. You got a shovel?
I have a shovel.
Oh, I
but
guess
not
you don't.
y'all
If
kinda
you're not
shovel.
going anywhere, you don't need to shovel out your driveway. But for us, it's like my tips are like we're getting going because nothing shuts down here.
Okay,
so
well-
I'm like, you got to have your car clear. You got to shovel out your driveway.
I like how Rachel's giving us all this practical advice. I just want to know how to build a snowman. Do you push
Oh,
the ball of
well-
snow into...
Yeah, how do I get a good snowball? Right?
Yeah.
It depends on the snow is really important. If it's snowman snow or not, it has to be like wet, sticky snow to make a snowman.
Okay.
Not
Alright.
all snow makes snowmen.
Oh.
But you guys will probably get the wet, sticky stuff.
Yeah, I think we're getting the wet, sticky stuff.
Sometimes it gets so cold here, we get light, fluffy stuff. And the light, fluffy is just powder. It doesn't.
That's the stuff you ski on, right? That's what they like skiing on?
Yes. But if you get sticky snow, which sounds like you will, you want to start out with a nice compact snowball. And then, you just roll it around on the ground until it gets bigger. And then you keep rolling around.
Oh, okay.
She's an autistic buff. There you go. I like it, Rachel.
You know, it's funny. The last time it really snowed here, it's like we built a little snowman and then we ran out of snow. So it's about maybe like 2 feet off the ground.
We got inches, bro.
I know.
Not feet, bro.
It's so funny to me when people freak out about snow. Like, I know we're just equipped for it up here, but when I hear you guys talk about 3 inches being a big deal, I'm like, that wouldn't even be a blip here. Like, moving on.
I feel that.
Get your big coat out. You're going to have to wear your boots to work.
Put your big pants on.
Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate those suggestions.
Rachel.
We'll let you know how it goes if it happens. But
cool.
You know, between this recording and when the show comes out, something will happen of a wintry nature. What it is, we don't know. But anyway, look, enough of our jibber jabber, y'all. Let's go check out the reopened Haunted Mansion with that new bride smell. Welcome to The Queue, the segment in which we get to discuss all the news and happenings in the world of Disney today. And this week, it was revealed that Disneyland's Haunted Mansion was reopening with some changes. The main change, of course, is with the bride in the attic scene. What was previously like the murderous hatchet bride used to cut off all the husbands' heads and stuff like that.
Constance Hatchaway.
She hatched away those heads.
Yes, she did.
That's right. I didn't know the name. That's cool.
Yes, she had a name.
Yeah.
She might it still could be Constance Hatchaway. It's not like that's exclusive.
I knew that it was Constance, I guess, because in the Halloween parties, like a couple years ago at Walt Disney World, they had like Constance's cake was a treat. You know, you could buy like a little tiny layer cake. Or tiered. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
But cool. I didn't know the whole name. That's awesome.
There you go. Yep. So she's been replaced. They put her with a bride that I guess I grew up with, technically. You know, the heartbeat bride, dum 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 to the music as you're going through the attic scene. But now the technology is such to where it looks like she's levitating. She's holding the candelabra, which apparently now appears in several times throughout the Haunted Mansion now.
Yes.
First being, of course, in the hallway scene. And, of course, now in the attic scene that she's holding. And I hadn't seen video of it yet, but they say it's supposed to be showing up in the cemetery as well.
It is. You know where the specter was in the tomb?
Oh, yeah.
They removed the specter and put the candelabra there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and the videos.
I'm pretty sure that's who they got rid of. I'd have to go look again, but yeah. That's what I think.
So there's a new story in line with this that brings a little bit more of a sad tale as they describe it. You know, as a woman that has lost her husbands and several husbands and whatnot. So like a lost love kind of a thing. So that's the main change that's happened when this reopens. And of course, you see her just before you see the Hatbox Ghost. So that's one of the things. And we'll talk about a couple other things. Like I'm sure we'll touch upon the gift shop that opened, Leota's Bed Bath Beyond, whatever, that kind of a thing. Yeah, and the whole queue area that they reopened. But the main thing that stuck out was this bride. So what do you guess think of this? Or I guess I should let Danny go first because he's the big Haunted Mansion guy.
I know, you're the Haunted
show.
Mansion guy.
Yes.
So this is probably one of the more significant changes we've had since Constance Hatchaway changed.
It caught my attention.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty torn on this. On the one hand, I appreciate Disney's attempt to honor the original intent of the bride. I think the figure looks amazing. Much better than the one before, which I never quite thought looked right. It just...
Yeah, the face was kind of weird.
It was something hazy about it. Yeah, it just never seemed to quite look right. I could catch what it was supposed to be doing, but I love the addition of the one-eyed black cat beside her from the original concept for the mansion. I like how they got that in there. I love the window behind her looking out into the night sky. That's really cool. And above all else, I really love knowing that I'll never have to hear the voice of one of the most unpleasant people I've ever had the displeasure of speaking to ever again in my favorite haunted mansion.
See, there is such a thing as karma.
And And if y'all have a question about that, email the show. We'll be glad to let you know what that was
Yeah.
about.
Through Patreon,
Yes.
of course.
But on the other hand, I gotta say, as I feared when I heard about this, the scene just doesn't work near as well.
Mm.
With Constance, from the moment you entered the attic with the eerie bridal march, the wedding photos with the husband's heads disappearing, and then you come across her, she's got the sinister voice, the bouquet is turning into an axe, and right away you get exactly what the story is supposed to be.
Right.
Now, you still have the wedding photos, but the entire husband is disappearing,
Yeah.
which you have to assume means that they all died. But you don't know how, and the fact that the bride never ages from photo to photo to photo just makes it even more confusing, because if the bride isn't killing off her husbands, how are they all dying so young, and how in the hell is she getting remarried so quickly? I mean, I know the story's supposed to be that she's this heartbroken bride, because I remember the original bride, and I read the interview with Kim Irvine, but if I didn't know that walking into it, it's kind of hard to glean that she's mourning the loss of true love when she's had, what, 4 or 5 husbands in the span of 2 to 3 years? I mean,
That's not
Yeah.
true love.
Yeah.
yeah, the guys are barely buried before she's engaged again. So it's hard to kind of buy that she's in mourning. She doesn't even look all that sad. She just looks like she's got the worst case of heartburn I've ever seen. So I like the use of the portraits to tell the prior story. I thought it worked great with the prior story, but they got to change the portraits for this one because it doesn't come across as well. You need one guy. It needs to be one husband. If you want us to attach that she lost the love of her life and under unnatural circumstances, shall we say, they got to change that. And if you hadn't spoken about it, and if I hadn't read the interview about the candelabra and the graveyard and the connection back, I would have never caught that.
Right.
When I watched going through the mansion, it would have never occurred to me that she's just wandering aimlessly through the mansion.
Yeah, if you want to, like, to what you said, if they did multiple portraits, but it was her with the same guy while they were in different stages of life,
Yes.
that makes more heartbreak sense.
And little by little, you see him getting sick, or little by little, you see someone stalking him in the background, or maybe it's a Hatbox Ghost who took him out.
that,
Yeah.
Something, and it's something that makes that story resonate, because now, yeah, the story just got,
It's
the
pretty
bride
vague,
story
right?
at least, it just got a lot weaker.
Yeah.
yes.
And the attic scene is now less impactful, and it doesn't work near as well. It just does not work near as well. So there are things about it I like, but for a company that prides themselves on story first, story just took a back seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's funny because you had that bride scene, then Hatbox goes.
Yeah.
And then you're out.
But like I said, it doesn't really, because the Haunted Mansion really doesn't have a story. It's just kind of a sequence of events. So it doesn't kill the ride or anything like that. It doesn't mess with the entire story of the mansion. But you walk out of that room wondering a lot more what you saw, whereas before you knew exactly what you were seeing, and it worked. It worked great.
Yeah.
I watched the YouTube video. It kind of reminded me of Navi River Journey.
Mm.
You know how they have those like figures kind of in the distance? Like I was surprised at how far away she was. And maybe that was just a function of the video, but the previous one felt very close to you as you rode by. And she sort of feels like she's in the background.
Okay.
Kind of like in Navi River Journey, the Navi people are the like figures you see are like way in the background until you get to that last animatronic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that Irvine was saying as far as why this change happened, and I'll quote directly from the article here, and she says, "The bride that used to be in there was an axe murderer. And in this day and age, we have to be really careful about the sensitivities of people. We were celebrating someone chopping off her husband's heads, and it was a weird story. I know the fans, some will like it, and some will say, oh, you changed something again. That's our job. That's what we're here for." That end quote. And that's what she said.
I mean, that really happens, though. I watch a ton of true crime stuff all the time.
I guess.
I just want to say, like, this was gonna be my part. Like, as a guy that is divorced and would go through that ride all the time, I would be terrified. Like, that would have so much trauma for me. But it should. It's horror. I shouldn't be looking at that and being like, "Yeah, you got me again." Like, I totally was with him on board. I agree with Danny says as far as the narrative that's scary. It's supposed to be. I like the effects though of this new one, but yeah, like where's the like it needs a little spooky.
Well, God
Yeah.
forbid you feel anything but complete comfort in a haunted house.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really calm here. Thank you guys. I needed a break in the air conditioning. Yeah, I think that part of it's weird. And I understand not wanting to offend. And I know that's like what things are going to. But that is literally something that does go on, unfortunately. And so that's just art imitating life in that instance. And yeah, that was creepy. Like, that was a very effective part.
It was a clear story part, if anything.
Yeah, very clear.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a good question, Eli. Is like, if this is supposed to be like a horror ride, like that genre, if that's the idea,
yeah,
you're not really celebrating it. Like it's
you.
supposed to be scary, and you know what I mean. Like it would be like saying that making a horror movie is celebrating murder. Like,
Right.
but it's a horror movie. Like it's supposed to scare you and be bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not like you see the actual axe murders happening. That would be
Right.
maybe celebrating axe murder.
True.
They're just making a frightening character so you feel
Right.
a little bit of tension or unease for a few moments
Yes.
in your journey through the
I mean, let's
mansion.
be fair. Madame Leona is a decapitated head in a ball. Like, I
Floating
mean,
around, yeah.
floating
Right.
around.
Yeah.
That's scary too. I mean,
I
like,
agree.
The
Yeah.
whole theme is terror.
I mean, I guess what maybe she's saying is that, like, as Disney, we're going for sort of like a Mickey's Not So Scary vibe, but like, then you need to change a lot more than
Yeah.
just that
Yeah.
scene.
100%.
Like, if
Yeah.
that's the plan, if the plan is a not so scary vibe and like goofy ghosts, then like do that, but then you have to change the whole thing.
I've been to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party quite a bit. And I've never seen the headless horseman come running down the street on that horse and the kids be like, ah! That is a head chopping maniac right there.
Yes.
So are we canceling the headless horseman now? I mean, if we're going to be consistent here, if we can't have head chopping maniacs in the parks anymore, headless horseman's got to go from the Not So Scary parade. He's got to be removed from the statue in Oogie Boogie's Bash over in California Adventure.
That's fair.
Got to be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may as well.
What about the Queen of Hearts?
Off with
Queen
the
of
head?
Hearts has got to
Off with their
go.
head, yeah.
No one loved chopping off heads more than she did.
Ooh,
She's a big fan.
Got to reimagine that Alice in Wonderland ride now. Got to remove her from that unfairly ever after show at the Hollywood Studios.
There goes the magic.
I
They had her
mean,
in
just
the
saying.
Descendants series. She was in there chopping heads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I went a while back. I went with a younger cousin of mine to go see this movie, The Terrifier 3. And I saw your nephew at this show. And look,
The title kind of says it. doesn't it?
Yeah.
and it was gross. It was terrible. She was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I know fake blood when I see it. I'll be okay." My point is, if this lady is saying for the sake of the youth that they don't want to terrify them with a holographic ghost, please go watch with these kids. See, because you're not traumatizing them at all with what you have. I'm just saying. I won't even go with what that movie's about because I'm not going to glorify it. But
Well, and clearly
pretty
Disney
gory.
isn't aiming for the Terrifier audience. But
right.
kids can handle a little bit
That's my
more
point.
than what you're giving them credit for. I mean, this is why Disney is in danger of losing some serious business to Universal when they open Epic Universe, because Disney is making rides for 6-year-olds and those with the sensibilities of
Right.
6-year-olds.
Hmm.
And that's not good. That's not good at all. You know, my mom had a really easy way to solve this problem for me. If we went and saw a movie or we went on a ride and there was a part in there that was uncomfortable, she had a very simple solution to it. You know what it was?
Cover your eyes.
Cover your eyes.
That's my parents did.
Ziggy.
You don't like it? Close your eyes.
It's
You
like,
don't need to watch it.
I'm there watching, On's like slap. I was like, oh,
Yes.
That was her sensitivity to my issues, and it worked. After a while, I was like, I didn't want to close my eyes. I was frightened, but I wanted to see what happened. And
Right.
after I saw it, I felt brave, and I was like, that was nothing. And I think that's how it works.
That's how it should work.
you know, it's funny to me that the Haunted Mansion growing. So the whole bride thing, I have nostalgic feels about it because, as I mentioned, that's the bride that I grew up with, that we had. Just a thumping heart and just like back then it was a freaky ass face.
Yeah.
Like that.
the Jamiroquai looking dog.
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, something like that. But it was like it was just weird looking, and so for me, I have some nostalgic feels. It's like, oh, okay, this is kind of neat. My kids can kind of see what I grew up with as far as a bride. I'm not saying that it's a necessarily good thing. I don't think we had to go back to that.
Right.
Because when I was little, I mean, the whole Haunted Mansion it worked on me. I used to go through there with my eyes closed. I didn't look at a damn thing. until maybe I got a little bit older. I was like, okay, this is not so bad.
Mhm.
And then somebody said, oh, they're happy haunts. I was like, okay, well, I can give them a chance. And then I started really liking it, you know?
Exactly.
And now it's like, okay, we're going back to a bride of my childhood. And it's nice when I was watching the videos. Like, oh, this is nice. This will be kind of cool to see whenever I go back out there. But I don't, like, to your point, I don't think the story was clear. I never understood the story when I was younger at all, when they had the original Thumping Heart Bride. And now that they went back to it, to your point, yeah, the story is still unclear. When they had the Hatchet Bride, yeah, it was plain as day what was going on there. And you wanted to get out of that attic as fast as you can.
Right. And to your point there, that's where I a little bit hazy on this, because I'm always for returning to the original intent of what it was supposed to be about. Having said that, there are a lot of things that don't work. And I'm completely in favor of getting rid of things that don't work and replacing them with things that do. And that Haunted Mansion scene with the bride, no one really understood the point of the bride. No one really understood the backstory of the bride. Cast members and guests made up stories just to fill in the gaps. Why is she up there? What is that thing about? They imagined seeing a ring in the pavement outside of the Haunted Mansion at one point in time, because no one was really sure of what that story was. So the story as it was just didn't really work very well. It wasn't presented very well. It wasn't like Phantom Manor, where they go out of their way to let you know the bride is a lovelorn bride because her husband was taken by the Phantom, or her soon-to-be husband was, at least. So I was fine with them making the change because it worked better with the change. Now going back to it, I appreciate going back to the original intent, but you didn't tell that story very well.
Yeah.
You haven't improved upon it.
I'm like, okay, I kind of just wish that Kim Irvine hadn't said that in the interview.
Yeah,
you know what I
same.
mean?
I would
Like
agree
if she had just really leaned in to like, oh, we were going back to the original story and we're trying to make it more vivid with the candelabra in multiple places, and like I would have been fine with that. But I feel like the adding that, like, oh, she was an axe murderer, so we had to be sensitive, like it just doesn't make any sense. And I'm all about, like, I think probably out of the four of us, I'm the most likely to be like, yes, we should get rid of some things and make like, that's typically my stance. But this particular one feels like I just don't know why she took that road for her comment. I was just thinking about Hocus Pocus. Disney's leaning into Hocus Pocus like crazy because it's doing really well, the original version. And even the sequel didn't do that great, but they leaned into it with a sequel. And the whole premise of that is those witches are sucking the life out of children.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like violating children in the movie. And Disney is leaning into it, which is, I don't really have a problem with it necessarily because it's so fictional.
Exactly.
Like, it's just so, they're not actually, like, you can't really suck the life out of children. You know what I mean? Like, I guess you can really axe murder somebody, but I don't know. It feels like if that's the stance that Disney's taking, they're going to have to redo a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's right. I think she's just talking out of turn there. I wish she hadn't said it.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But yeah, I'm not really a fan of the retro because I went to look to see what I call it the Jamiroquai doll, to see what it was like. And it's like, okay, all you did was upgrade the look, not the whole narrative, which is what you should do here. And again, to Rachel's point, if she just, like, the lady is Miss Irvine is saying, yeah, we want to go back to a traditional route. I mean, because yes, you made a great theme, and all you have to do is tweak it like a little bit,
Scoosh.
like a skosh. But why are you trying to go back to an earlier time when it was a lot more simplified, when Epic is coming and Epic is saying, we're making stuff that's made for you to be a teen to an adult, and we're not afraid to do that.
Yeah.
So here is your chance right here to be like, yeah, you want adult. We've been telling this story for years. Now we're really going to tell it to you without too much blood and gore, but we're really going to find, how you say, tweak that narrative. And they kind of blew that. But the graphics look great. I don't know about heart beating and all that other stuff. I mean,
it looks much better, yeah.
But the ghost itself looks great, but the heart being all red and all that, it kind of takes away from it. It should be cold, you ask me. I mean, it's dead.
Yeah. Well, that's the freaky thing. She's a ghost with a beating heart, which is kind of weird.
That's a life insurance policy for you right there.
I had a thought. I don't know any things about whatever contracts that may be done. But as you notice, this bride goes back to where there was no voiceover. There's no voice to this bride now. So I don't know what the contract was when Constance had her voice, if that was still getting paid or if it was a renewal contract or something. I don't know. Maybe did it right out, and so they didn't want to renew it, and so they just decided to redo it completely, just so they don't have to worry about paying somebody.
Well,
I don't know.
Still running
They're
it in
still
Disney
paying
World.
her.
They're still,
Yeah,
they
right.
started doing at least
I
for
was
a
like,
little while.
Wait, change in Orlando?
No, yeah.
Like,
They may change it in Orlando. They do that, yeah.
usually
They
they,
might.
do.
Yeah, when they
Usually
get it,
yeah, they probably will.
when they get it working in one place, then they'll bring it over. So I'm wondering if like I said, I don't know anything. I'm just speculating here.
I think they put a microphone in front of Kim Irvine's face, and she started talking, and she gave her opinion. And the problem with that is now it sounds like she's speaking for the company.
Well, that's the problem.
Right.
And so now, as a Disney fan, you're kind of nervous. Like, if that was too rough, then we're in trouble, because then the attic scene, that's just the beginning. The stretching room scene, that's going to go away with the man hanging from the top of the ceiling.
Right.
Which
And-
we talked about that way
Yeah.
back when people
Which
had
is-
issues with
Let's
Let's
that.
talk about what's more common, like suicide or axe murdering people and cutting off their heads. Like, I'm pretty confident it's suicide. I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't looked it up specifically, but I feel pretty safe in
Yeah.
that bet. Like,
I'll tell you this much. You know what's always kind of disturbed me, and not in any appreciable way, but I have a touch of claustrophobia.
Yeah.
When I see that guy in the coffin screaming, "Let me out of here, let me out of here," that's always been like, ooh, that's, that's almost like getting buried alive kind of thing. Like, how spooky is
Kind
that?
of freaky, yeah.
I could see that making people uncomfortable. In other words, you're not going to feel completely comfortable in a haunted house.
That's what it's right, because that's
And
what it's there for.
I think Kim spoke, and I think the problem, like I said, is that now it sounds like she's speaking on behalf of the company, and that makes us as fans nervous, because Cruella de Vil killed puppies and skinned them and wore
Made a
their
coat.
fur.
Yeah.
She's going to be in the show.
Yeah.
Darth Vader, when he was Anakin Skywalker, walked into a temple, slaughtered younglings. Does that mean we're celebrating a child murderer
Right.
whenever kids get their picture with Darth Vader or ride Star Tours? Or did we just create a badass bad guy?
yeah.
That's why all those reasons you just stated, that's why it makes me think it had to be something else that prompted this change that is not on the forefront.
Let me
Well-
tell you what terrifies me the most about the world in reality: taxes, not ghosts, not people that haunt anybody. Taxes.
Attic full of IRS people waiting to
yeah.
audit you.
Just what terrifies me is when I get my check and then it says, FICA, and then all that money's gone. That's terrifying. That's real stuff. In other words, we know it's imaginary.
Energy.
Yeah, we just know that it's, we know we're being told, and we like that suspension of belief. But now they're just treating us like we don't know what we're talking about.
This is what she said. Irvine says the attic scene was redone in part because the projection technology on the prior figure had become so outdated as to necessitate regular maintenance.
Mhm.
But rather than update what was there, Irvine saw an opportunity to add a greater contrast with the more festive waltz in the prior room, as well as to embellish the mansion's tale. So that's their rationale for why they did it. And I think she closed out with saying, we're celebrating chopping off some people's heads. I know the fans, some will like it, and some will say, oh, you changed something again. That's our job. That's what we're here for.
Right.
And there's something kind of comforting about that. It's like, look, we're here to look at everything and say, how do we make that better? But it also scares me that they're tinkering with stuff that works.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when they remake movies that you already like and it never turns out as good. Remake the ones that sucked.
That's a great point.
Try remaking those and doing those better, as opposed to taking the ones that worked and making those worse.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they did here. They perfected the bride scene. They really did. I mean, the animatronic, that could have been better. Yeah, she's right. The projection technology on that did look bad. And a newer figure, sure. But doing the exact same thing should have been fine.
That could be the inherent problem, right? Is that maybe they don't have the ability to recognize stuff that works now.
I'm scared.
Ooh,
That
if that
that's
does
scary.
scare me. Yeah.
If that's the
Because
case,
that's their job. They saying like that
Yeah.
worries me.
yeah.
I wish they had put the Walt Disney World ending into the Disneyland version with the ghosts, like the way that they're a little bit more interactive in Orlando.
Oh yeah.
You see, I like that they stuck with their original way, because I was
Yeah,
worried that
I
we were
like
going to
that.
get, because I can't tell in the Orlando version, I can't tell which ghost I'm getting, let alone what he's doing.
It's very dim.
Oh,
a lot
I
of
like
times.
it.
Really?
I always get it. Yeah, I don't know. I look forward to it.
I looked forward to it when I first wrote it, and I think maybe the effects are a little bit clearer, but I can't tell what's happening now.
Yeah.
I have a
I've
hard time
noticed
with that.
too. Yeah, it's gotten a little hazy for me.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be interactive, and when they weren't, but they were crystal clear that they were riding in the car with you, I thought that simplicity was a lot more effective than. Wait, who's on? What are they doing up there? What's happening up on my Doom buggy?
Yeah.
I can't really make that out. But
Yeah,
if they could pull it off with the interactivity, cool. But I enjoyed that.
well, it's nice to have the original ending with the hitchhiking ghost for me still in existence somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because just like the Bleeding Heart Bride, that's what I grew up with. Is those little,
Right, sure.
not necessarily centered sometimes, which always made me laugh. He's just kind of just like jiggling around. So that's nostalgic for me. So I like having both of those kind of things in there. So maybe they'll ride that. Maybe they'll have the new bride, and we'll just keep having that constants. From what I hear, what's the one in Paris is probably the superior version. Is that right?
Well, she got a lightsaber or something.
I've ridden the one.
Yeah.
It's a nice version, but it's not the Haunted Mansion that you know.
Oh,
and
okay.
love.
Okay.
It-
Phantom
it's a-
Manor, right?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
Phantom
called?
Manor.
Yeah.
It's a completely different story, completely different scenes, and it all revolves around the bride.
Mm.
And that story is done to perfection over
It's
there.
more cohesive, yeah.
Yes. They try to tell that story in one scene with multiple husbands. Again, they need to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They absolutely need to fix that, make that one husband, and then you can catch maybe that she lost her true love. But if she's got 4 or 5 of them, they're just dropping dead like that, and she's remarrying before the body's even in the ground, it's a little bit harder to buy that she's truly heartbroken over these things. I mean, I can look at that just the same and think that she killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she did, to be
Yeah.
honest. I was like, oh, she still killed him, but then she doesn't have the hatchet. I didn't understand.
Yeah.
They just may have to put like dollar signs over each husband as you go past them on the ride, and you understand.
Oh, yeah, the insurance
value of
payout.
each- yeah.
The insurance payout. So we got that change, and of course they opened the queue, the new extended queue that they had. So now they have a greenhouse, and there's supposed to be all kind of stuff that's supposed to set up the story, whatnot. So
Mhm.
that looking, I can't really speak much about it other than from what I see from the pictures, and it looks nice.
It looks very nice.
Yeah, it looks very, very nice.
Cool.
The other more significant change that you'll see is the addition of a gift shop for this particular mansion.
I'm
Now,
shocked.
in our parks, Walt Disney World, we have Memento Mori, which has been around
Yes.
for a while,
Yeah.
which is awesome. Cute little hut, it's perfect.
Yeah, Memento Mori often wins people's top gift shop, like best theming, best unique items. Like when people do like a best of, fans often nominate that one as the best one in all of the Walt Disney Worlds.
I would.
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
For
I mean,
being
it's an
special.
itty bitty shop,
Yeah.
and it's just perfect though. I love it.
It's interactive.
Highly regarded is my point. Highly regarded by the fan community.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure. People like haunted houses. People like being a little bit frightened. People who doesn't like Nightmare Before Christmas? Who doesn't like Hocus Pocus?
Yeah.
There's a whole reason why you do a Halloween party. Stepping this far back from the idea of something frightening, they should not be doing that.
I agree. And if no one likes it, they don't have to go to it. But those who do like it, allow them to embrace it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so they got the gift shop, Madame Leota's Somewhere Beyond.
Yeah.
Just opened up.
And it looks great.
Yeah.
There was a little snafu with some artwork, and they're like, "Oh no, because apparently,
The AI thing?
yes." They're like, "Oh, it was just temporary. We were out looking for the real stuff we were going to use there permanently, but that was all temporary."
Oh wow.
I had heard you could like buy it at Lowe's.
The artwork?
Yeah, it was like just stuff you could buy like anywhere, like a lot of the decorations and stuff. And like, I guess there's a pavilion, or what are those like covered like areas where you can sit called?
Covered areas where you can sit?
Like a gazebo,
A cabana?
Like
Gazebo, that's it. There's a
Gazebo.
gazebo that they put in that you can like actually just buy at Home Depot.
oh wow,
Like
Oh
online.
wow. Disney
Like,
Depot. How
Yeah.
about that?
Oh, man.
terrible.
Try to
I
get
did
that-
not hear this one.
Try to get that discount.
Well, the LA Times article says that that Irvine stressed that the AI art was a temporary placeholder, noting that there are many objects coming to the shop, more paintings and tapestries among them, that are in the process of being fireproofed before final install.
I mean,
But that was her explanation for the AI art. And she's like, I can't believe how the fan base was able to catch on to that. Like,
I like Kim Irvine, I really do, but sometimes people need to realize you're speaking for a company and your fans are going to be calling bullshit on a lot of what you have to say.
I thought they had PR people like at Disney for this to like catch these kind of things.
I want more like a straight shooter up in there.
I think she just kind of went off script a little bit and kind of gave her 2 cents on things. I mean, again, when I see kids running away from the Headless Horseman on Main Street, then I can say, okay, maybe Head Chopping Maniacs is going a little bit too far. But that has never been a problem. Kids understand the difference between fantasy and reality. It's almost like taking professional wrestling seriously.
And some people still do. It's so crazy. Yeah.
Right. It's like, at least we like our violence and scariness to be fake.
Yes. It's controlled.
It's like saying Murder, She Wrote is celebrating murderers.
Yeah.
Every story, for a company that's supposed to be story first, every story has a protagonist and an antagonist.
Absolutely.
And the antagonist is there to give the protagonist something to overcome, not to be celebrated for whatever bad thing he does to make him more formidable.
Right. Absolutely. But then when you have merchandise involved, that also is a determinative factor, right? Whatever kids are starting to buy, that tells you exactly where they're at with stuff.
I mean, like saying Pirates of the Caribbean is celebrating stealing.
Gun violence.
Exactly.
But it's all imaginary though. That's why you go on a ride, you go and you have fun. That's why you pay the big bucks.
Right.
Is to have the escapism.
Yes. I'm sorry, Disney, but yeah, most 8-year-olds know Mickey is not real. They're going along with it.
Because their parents are making them because they just spent $1,500 on an omelet with mushrooms in it.
So one thing I just bring up that as I was researching this particular story is the gift shop itself and the way it looks. And I'm curious to know, our California correspondent JP, see what he thinks whenever he sees it. But there's people mentioning that they feel like it was created by the retail arm of the company versus like the creatives, meaning that the design, as far as the use of forced perspective and that kind of stuff, is non-existent, which almost makes it look like the same size as the Haunted Mansion itself. And Tiana's right next door, which utilizes forced perspective to make it look bigger. But because they didn't do that with the gift shop, it looks almost like it's the same size as the Grand Mansion. We're supposed to be just like a little carriage house. Yeah. So I wanted to bring that up because I thought that was, when I was reading stuff, I was like, well, that's an interesting take that I haven't seen anybody pick up on. I don't know what happened as far as the design, but they say it kind of stands out and doesn't really blend. But I can't.
Not the interior, just the
exterior. Yeah, the exterior. Yeah. But I'll be curious to see. I just want to throw it out there as a possibility in case anybody out in California or our listeners happen to see it. I'd be curious to see what you think of this. That actually holds water.
We'll have them take a picture.
Take a picture. And
we can have that to weigh that up against.
Because when watching videos, it's like you can see how that could possibly be the case, but then you just don't know unless you see it up close. But if that's the case, then that could be something interesting to take note of where the company's going as well.
I've seen pictures of it since it opened, and I've never seen it with the Haunted Mansion in the background, kind of like for scale to where I could look. Does it kind of look a little bit like a barn? I guess it doesn't really look like.
Somebody says it looks like a shed from Home Depot.
There you go. That's probably a better way to put it. It does look like a barn or a shed from Home Depot, as opposed to, I don't know, a mystical, magical, forgive the term if it's politically incorrect, but gypsy shop.
Yeah.
And it definitely doesn't look like anything you'd see in New Orleans.
Well, we have K.O. Gumbo, Daddy, so we're capable of anything.
Yeah, right next to an elevated bayou.
Yeah.
So
and
now when you go inside, I think they do a good job inside. I think inside looks great.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's like the Harry Potter thing. You walk in, it's completely different.
Ah, nice.
The outside. But yeah, I'd be curious to see. I want to see it myself with my own eyes.
All right. I would be remiss if I didn't share my niece's thoughts on this because she was the first person to text me about this.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Perfect.
She wrote, I don't know. I feel like in the Haunted Mansion, you see a balance of good and scary haunts, and they call themselves the happy haunts. So it seems like most are good. So Constance just gave it that sort of, oh, maybe there aren't as many quote unquote happy haunts in this mansion. And she kept you on the edge of your seat a bit. I don't know. That's my thought. I think she's pretty badass compared to a bride that died because she didn't find love or something. Why are you even a bride if you don't have love?
Why are you even a bride? Why are you showing up here on this aisle? Yeah.
So that was Emmy's thoughts on this, which again, yes, they've done a poor job in telling this bride story. I'm
that's
sorry.
true. Thought that. No, I think that's put it really well, very well. I was gonna. This was the question I was gonna throw out.
Okay.
Since they had this new technology to revamp these ghosts, is there any part of the haunted mansion that you wouldn't mind seeing the ghost revamped with that type of technology at?
So what you're asking about is like parts of the mansion that doesn't work as well.
Visually, I should say.
I think they could do more with the hallway scene.
Okay.
The hallway scene.
Where you hear the doors knocking and everything like that. I think they could add some effects to that would really make that scene pop a little bit more.
I'm with you.
I think that's fair.
I think they could definitely do that. Graveyard's perfect.
I was thinking about the ballroom. Is that the right?
Yeah. With a big long table.
Yeah, because there's always so much to look at because you're looking down on it. And so there's something that's happening almost slightly above your eye level and then below it. And as you're going through, there's still too much happening. I think like having that extra visual pop will help guide your eye to where you're going, but can help with the ghost dancing effect.
Like
a lot
sharpness?
Of sharpness. Like, let's put some 4K on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that because the dude in the chandelier, sometimes it's hard for me to tell what he's doing. Because I guess because of the reflections and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He kind of blends in with the chandelier. It's like if he was a little bit sharper, I could see the happy dude.
Yeah, you would be happy.
And what about the Haunted Mansion movie they just made?
I was just about to say, they totally threw that out.
I was gonna say, like they're already just nope.
Fair enough.
We made a scary movie and we needed to be more sensitive.
Well, they're gonna make a third one now.
That's a great point, dude. That's a great point.
I didn't mind that one so much. I watched that the other day, as a matter of fact.
It was slightly terrifying. See that at the end.
Well, I guess now the Eddie Murphy version is the one that's more true to the actual.
I know he went back,
right?
Yeah.
Well, you can't beat Ed.
yeah, they went back to it. Oh well. All right, so those are our thoughts on the Haunted Mansion newness, the things that are coming online. We're curious to know what y'all think, especially from our California weekends or West Coast weekends, or anybody that travels to Disneyland more often than not. We'd be curious to hear your thoughts once you actually see these things. Let us know, shoot us an email, get in touch with us, and we're about to tell you how to do that in just a little bit. Well, y'all, we hope you enjoyed our discussion about the new Haunted Mansion Bride and the gift shop and the queue area, all the new Disneyland Haunted Mansion stuff. And if you want to learn more about us, follow us on any social media platform. We're everywhere. And if we're not somewhere you want us to be, let us know. Get in touch with us at the following ways. Shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com or call or send us a text message at 1-815-MOWEEKEND. That is 1-815-MOWEEKEND 669-4226. And of course, we have a couple of people who do things outside of the podcast. First of all, we got Eli does things with comics. Eli, what you got?
That's right. When you're going on the internet, please feel free to show me some support. ivorycomics.com. See everything I got there. Project Geisha, Savages, and The Body Be Damned. All work is 48 pages fully colored, and the only ad for them is for the Magic Our Way podcast. That's more than you get for your buck for any of the big two right there. I'm just a small independent guy just trying to make and tell you a story to entertain you. Also, on the website, you can see blogs and interviews, and of course, a link to the Magic Our Way podcast. So you never miss a beat. You never miss an episode. You never miss who animatronic did what to who and who was zooming who when it was done by that person. I don't even know what that meant. It was just fun to say it. But anyway, I appreciate all support given. Please visit ivorycomics.com. On social media, you can find me there. Facebook.com, Eli H. Ivory, where you can find me there. As long as you're a real person, it's a pleasure to meet you. If you're a bot, I do not need to greet you. I did this so much. I changed my avatar using the bot.
I saw that. That was spooky.
Yeah, that was wild, man.
Yeah. I was like, all right. hiding in the botanist. I
You
guess
did not look good.
No, I look depressed, don't I?
You look like
it's-
you were melting.
Yeah, but it was a cool outfit with a sword. I thought. A lot of people like that. It's so great. But, it is what it is. I experiment. I'm a computer guy still. That's how I know about these bots. Because every time they try to tell me about going out there and trying to make polar bear cybernetic, Terminators, I'm like, no, not going to do that. So, again, real person, love to meet you. Also on Facebook, there's a Project Geisha fan page. So, again, facebook.com/Project Geisha. Also, Instagram. I'm right up there, posting up the hearts and the likes to see what you got. eIvory504 is where you can find me there. And, of course, on X, I can be found at Hancock10166. So, yes, if you appreciate the madness, then you're just bringing me the gladness. Thank you very much.
And if you want to book a vacation out to the Disneyland Resort in California so that you can see all this Haunted Mansion stuff, Rachel can do that for you. Rachel, tell them how to do this.
I sure can. The best way to get in touch with me is my email address, Rachel, RACHEL @magicourway.com. I would be honored to book you and your travel party a trip to Disneyland, but I don't just book Disneyland trips. I also book Walt Disney World, all Disney destinations, Disney Cruise Line, Universal on both coasts, and also cruise lines. So Royal Caribbean, Virgin Voyages, Celebrity, all of the above. I also book major hotel brands around the world. So basically, if you're going somewhere, I can help you get there. And the best part is that my help is completely at no extra cost to you. So totally free to you. You just reach out. I will help you book the trip that you might have booked all on your own, but you get my help as an ally and an advocate for you. And it costs you nothing extra. And the best part is that a small piece of the value of your trip comes back to support this podcast and this fan community, all again at no extra cost to you. I can help as much or as little as you like. And so I just waiting to hear from you. Reach out. Like I said, the best way is email Rachel@magicourway.com, but you can also text or call me. My number is 978-432-WISH. You can also find me on social media. I'm at Our Family Magic. That's all one word, the letter R, and then the words Family Magic on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Since I heard it just came back. We're recording this on Sunday when there's been some back and forth with TikTok, but as of right now, you can log in and find me there as well.
Our prayers have been answered.
TikTok, and don't stop.
Yeah, so please reach out. I would be honored to help you, and thank you so much.
Yes, those are two definitely great ways to support us. Also, if you want to elevate your support of the Magic Our Way podcast, go to patreon.com/Magic Our Way. And another option, which only costs a minute or so of your time, is to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and or wherever you access our show, whether it is YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, etc. Any way in which you can support the show is deeply appreciated. We also want to thank you for being a loyal listener, and we always love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome in the Magic Our Way podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. So we say Kwaharini. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Magic out.
All right. Nachos are on plates.
And you are. Bye!